Good morning. Well, it is morning when I'm recording this, but it is Monday, December, December the 8th. And right now, I believe it is, well, I don't know what time it is. Crank the car up and see. Haven't gotten any sleep at all. But I'm here at one of my rental homes. Well, my only rental home now. For the third time with the electrician. After they exchanged two switches that there was absolutely nothing wrong with them, they finally sent someone out and say, "Oh yeah, it's your ceiling fan." What you guys think about that? It's not like they're not charging me for misdiagnosing, but that's why I'm out here early this morning trying to see if this brand new ceiling fan is going to remedy the problem. What do you guys think when you have an electrician come out and then they fixed something that wasn't broken? What do you think about that? And it's costing me, you know, a trip to drive over about 25 minutes. Extra money because it's not like they're refunding me or anything for the misdiagnosis. But I didn't want to hire anybody else since they started it. So if the ceiling fan don't stop it, don't correct the problem, we gonna have problems with this company. I'm not gonna call their name right now because if they do what's right, the price they gave me, I would say probably at least $150 more than what it should cost. And they've been over here today makes the third trip, but it's not my fault. They didn't solve the problem on the first trip. What do you guys think? But anyway, I'm just sitting here waiting to see, kind of stay in the area. So when they finish, I'm going to go in the house and see if the problem is fixed. Actually, when they went out the first time, whatever the guy did, the lights came on and then flicker. But of course, before that night, whatever the problem was came back. Okay. So I don't know what happened, what the guy did, the first guy that came out. I don't know what he did that caused the lights, which is the lights flickering, won't stay on the ceiling fan lights, the fixture. But I went ahead and bought a brand new ceiling fan with brand new light fixture that comes with it. So it won't be like, well, they changed the light fixture and then, well, it must be the fan. So we're starting out afresh with the entire ceiling fan. And we're going to see. But what do you guys think? You think when they misdiagnosed, well, it was working when I left the house the first time, but I don't know what caused the lights not to flicker when he changed the switches because it was not anything wrong with the switches. Maybe one of the switches, but that switch was in a complete another room. So it didn't have anything to do with that light. So we're going to see. When your gut tells you something, you better listen. My gut had told me to go with my um, original electrician. But just because he couldn't come that same day, I called someone else, and I just should have waited for him, you know. But you learn and you listen, and I'm learning that most time my gut is not wrong. It's usually right. So I didn't sleep well last night. Got on the road about 7:25 this morning. I arrived here about 7 minutes to 8. Of course, I got here before the electrician did. So, being that they had told me, they were initially said they were coming at 11, but they called me late Friday and rescheduled to 8 o'clock this morning. I don't know what I was thinking when I said, well, okay. No, forgetting, once I confirmed with the tenants that they were going to be able to be there to let them in, I didn't even give it a thought that it was going to put me on the road pretty early so I can be over here and know what's going on. But anyway, hopefully the ceiling fan will fix the problem. Hopefully it will. Because if it doesn't, I'm just going to be really upset. Yeah. So, if today is the 8th, Christmas is not that far away. You guys ready for Christmas? I'm ready as I'm going to be. I don't have any children, no babies. I got 3 grown men that are on their own. One has a family of his own. So, whereas I do have grandchildren, I do not shop for those grandchildren. This day and time, these children don't want anything anyway except a $2,000 cell phone. And they're not getting it from me. You best believe it. But Christmas was fun when I was a little girl. What about you guys? It was so fun. It was fun until I found out there was no Santa. It was very disappointing because I really believed there was a Santa. Did you guys believe it was a Santa? It was so much fun. We were poor. It's this comedian that I see that says that word like that. He goes around and I think his name is Damon Darling. You guys look at Damon Darling, where he goes around mostly Walmart and asks people if you got a dollar. You automatically think people being aggravated when they ask you for a dollar. You got a dollar. And the people, some of them will say, go ahead and give them a dollar. Some of them won't. But he's just trying to bless them with some money. So that's the way he started off. So y'all be wary of people coming up to you, asking you for a little change. It may be a blessing in disguise. While always being careful, especially if you're out in the parking lot and someone approaches you asking for money or offering you something, just be careful. Not just this time of year, but all the time. But I'm not going to make this video long. I've actually have it on I'm not going to even, by the time you guys see it, it'll be published, but it's not published right now. But, as YouTube would take it off published anyway until they go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I don't know what they think I'm going to do, but I guess that's just their rule for everybody. But didn't really have anything to talk about too much except I'm trying to stay awake. My eyes are red because I didn't sleep. Didn't sleep well at all. I'm not. I don't even know. Like when I was working, I'm retired. But when I was working, I don't know how in the world I got up as early as I did to drive an entire hour to get to work. But I did it for years. I did it. I guess I got up and did it because I didn't have any choice. But now I don't have to do it. Praise God. Although I miss that outlet of having a job, being able to do something besides sit home. You know, I was tempted to go out and look for work again. But then I said, well, who's going to hire me? You get a certain age, even though they say no age discrimination, no sexual discrimination, no racial discrimination. They're lying, right? If they look at you or see you figure you're a certain age, they're not going to give you a job. Not if they can help it. The last job that I had was a temporary job. You know, as far as a temporary job, you may can get something to do. Because when I retired in 2016, I found myself um, really needing to go back to work. So I ended up working a couple of temporary. Well, I did have a full-time job at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Maryland. I worked there 5 years, and then I worked this temporary job almost 5 years. Because I found myself so bored. So guys, don't quit your job too quick. Okay, make sure you can make ends meet. I used to wonder why, when people retire, why they continue to work. But I know now. Not that I was poor. It was, you get used to having a certain amount of money and doing certain things. You don't want to like really want for anything. So I ended up working still another 10. Wow, that's a long time. 10 years since I retired. It was kind of dumb, wasn't it? Because I cut myself short on my Social Security, and also ended up having to be forced to buy what they call Medicare Part B, not knowing that my insurance I had with the state was going to automatically convert to Medicare Part A. That's the hospital part. Okay? And then the Part B, meaning if you want to go to the doctor and see your doctor and buy your meds, you would have to have Part B, or it would cost you an arm and a leg to go to the doctor. So you've got two parts of Medicare when you hit 65. That's Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B, which you don't have to have. But the catch is, if you don't have it, you got to pay out of your pocket for your doctor's visits, and they're expensive, and your medications, and a lot of other things. So all those things I didn't know because I didn't go to those meetings before I retired. I didn't go to any meetings. Didn't go and sit down with Social Security. Just automatically thinking, I was going to keep my insurance that I had that cost me just a few dollars. I think I was paying about $52. But boy, did that change. I retired at 62, and then as soon as I turned 65, that's when I learned a hard lesson. Guys, do your research before you retire early. Now, if you have a whole bunch of a butthole full of money and you don't need insurance, or you maybe got military insurance or something like that, that's different. But you also got to look at your income. Do you have enough money to survive? Do you have like a huge bank account? Um, you need to count up the costs before you just up and retire, especially at 62. It's not a good idea. Wasn't a good idea for me. So, although I'm doing well now, you know, I do pretty good. I'm still used to like banking money, just making money. I did so well I could put money up and I would get paid on the job and would forget all about I got paid. I miss that. You know, I miss being able to leave home and go and do other things. Be around other people, be somewhere besides home. I wanted to go places. I could think of so many places I wanted to go, so many things I wanted to do when I was working. Now that I've got all this time on my hand, I don't do anything besides come down here and make sure this rental house is doing okay. My son was able to buy, him and his wife were able to buy the other one, thank God, because, it can become a little aggravating, especially when you got people living in your house that don't really take care of the house. But it gives you a little bit of extra income. I'd like to have another rental property, but you just don't ever know who you're going to end up with as a tenant. And they can really cause a lot of damage to your house. So, meanwhile, as I talk, I realize that probably the most important thing that I've said is be careful about retiring too early. Make sure you're financially able to retire early. And all you got to do is ask yourself, are you making it right now pretty well? Are you making ends meet and you're able to save a substantial amount of money while you're working a full-time job, making all of your money actually going to be cut, to like a third? If you retire early, don't do it. If you're not ready and you don't want to have to be borrow money from Peter to pay Paul, don't do it. Do your research. You don't have to take my word. Go do your research with on your job concerning your insurance and also concerning your age. I mean, your the amount of money you're going to get, the money that you can still make if you do decide to go to work. I worked, but still I was penalized, and they took a lot of my money back once I retired because I had agreed to retire. And then once you go back to work, they penalize you like $3 for every dollar that you make. So up until the point you reach full retirement age, which for me was 65, and I think it's 67 now. So be careful. Do your homework. Don't just up and quit early, because I hear a lot of people saying, yeah, 62. Now, I'll be ahead of everybody that waits 65. No, you're not, especially if you're a person that don't know how to budget money and you haven't saved any money. You're not going to be able to live off a third of your income, unless you just got other things you're going to do, maybe work for yourself. But be careful. That insurance now is going to be starting this month, $202. The Part B that you have to pay out of your little Social Security check, And if as long as you don't make a lot of money, well, most of us don't make a lot of money. So $202 is a lot of money coming out of anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. It's a lot. So if you're used to making maybe $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and all of a sudden you're only getting 1,000 to 15, maybe 1,000 to 2,000. Let's just make that big gap. How you gonna make it? And then they automatically gonna take that $200. So just be careful. I'll talk about this some more another time. I'm going to go ahead and end this live. I always end up talking too long. All right, guys. Have a good week. Good rest of your day.